Good morning, everyone. Just checking that we're live. Good. Sorry I missed the class on Friday. I was planning to teach a specific lesson to do with the movement of the belly. And I've kind of thought, because I missed that on Friday, that I want to take that into this week and kind of work on that concept throughout the rest of the week. So today's lesson is going to be kind of like an introductory lesson, where we look at the movements of the abdomen and just think about this kind of general concept of coming from the Eastern traditions of what they call the Dantian. So first of all, thanks for tuning in. If you're watching, if you're going to watch later, then please, it'd be great if you write down a comment and just say hi. Yeah, so this week, obviously I'm kind of drawing on some of my knowledge from the Tai Chi and Qigong traditions that I practiced, and kind of incorporating that into a kind of more Feldenkrais-like exploration of the abdomen. So today's going to be the movement of the breath. And I haven't been doing so much breathing since we did the start of the coronavirus and that period where we did 50 lessons of breathing. So I've, kind of been leaving it a little to the side just to kind of explore other areas. But this subject, I think, is really perfect for using the breath to explore the abdomen. So what I'd like you to do is, as you're sitting there, just find a comfortable position for yourself to be in. Have your 2 feet on the floor. And yeah, so as you tune into yourself, just begin to maybe just have one hand on your abdomen. And as you sit there, just let your mind settle back into your body. And place your hand on your abdomen. As you rest your hand on your abdomen, just notice kind of, how the skin feels, how it feels to touch. And maybe you're going to take a moment just to kind of like settle in and let your breath kind of become obvious to you. Like, let how you're breathing reveal itself to you. So what I'd like you to do is start to use the in-breath, and you may be doing this already, or you may be doing something else, but just allow the in-breath to come in and fill the abdomen, like you're filling up a balloon. And just notice how that feels. So, we breathe, I don't know how many times a day, but a lot. And maybe you've just had breakfast, or, you're kind of at some other point where you've been active, and just notice how the muscles of your abdomen feel. Do they facilitate the movement of the breath? Do they allow the breath to kind of fill into the abdomen? So it's okay, whichever hand you have on your abdomen, it can be the right or the left, it doesn't matter. Just notice how high you've got your hand, how high or how low, and just maybe just move it upwards slightly and feel the upper area of the abdomen. And then move it downwards slightly and feel the lower area of the abdomen. Within the Chinese culture, and just continue to do that, but within the Chinese culture and the Japanese culture, they've got this significance placed on this area of the abdomen. And from a kind of martial arts or esoteric perspective, there's this sense that there's something called an energy center, a Dantian, that's in the lower abdomen. And we may go into that a little bit, but I want to kind of stick to the physical aspects of it today. So one of the physical aspects of it, in terms of our general movement, that this area in the lower belly is, in terms of physics, so for example, whatever movements we're doing, that this area in the lower belly is generally the place that our center of mass is. So even if we're doing a cartwheel or, backflip or whatever, this area of the lower belly is the center of mass of the body. So this considered like the center of gravity. So in the Chinese traditions, what they talk about is kind of sinking like sinking your chi down into your belly, and in some way that corresponds to this kind of the center of the mass of the body being organized or being placed in this lower abdomen area. So as you breathe, just kind of like maybe you feel your mind, your attention, just kind of coming down and resting in your abdomen. Good. So what I'd like you to do is as you breathe in, what I'd like you to do is very gently just let your body move forwards, and just do that a number of times. So it's almost like you're leading from your abdomen movement. So as you breathe in, the belly expands and you just let it kind of carry you a little bit forwards, like it's kind of like floating up to the surface, and that's moving your body. And then as you breathe out, you just come back to a normal position. Breathe in and let your belly come forwards. And what you'll feel is that this in some way allows for a little more extension in the abdomen muscles. So the abdomen muscles get longer, and this, in terms of the crossover between the Eastern concept and the Western concept, this is a really good way of exploring what the area of the Dantian means. Essentially, it's to do with the kind of, from a structural mechanical perspective, the good functioning, the proficiency of your abdominal muscles. So as you breathe in, just allow your abdomen muscles to kind of like so they're going to elongate as you come forwards, expand into the space in front of you, and then as you breathe out, you're just going to let it go. Breathe in, allow your belly to kind of expand into the space in front of you, just a little bit. It can be really gentle, so there's no pushing, there's no pressure involved. Breathing in, and just do it a number of times. Feel that as the abdomen comes full as you breathe in, there's some sense of length there at the front of the body as well. So as you breathe in, you've kind of got this sort of opening up of the front of the body. And as you breathe out, it kind of comes back to a normal position. You may feel a gentle kind of movement in the pelvis as well. And this is something that we're going to be looking at through the rest of the week. And as you feel that area kind of like lengthening, and you've got your attention there and you're breathing, maybe you feel that, the muscles of that area kind of are waking up. Specifically in the area of the lower abdomen. So see if you can kind of really feel down. Maybe you want to put your hand into that area of the lower abdomen. And as you breathe in, maybe you can kind of breathe in and push your hand with your lower abdomen. Kind of waking up these muscles. And you can notice if there's any difference between the muscles on the left side of the abdomen and the muscles on the right side of the abdomen. Do they open a similar amount on both sides? Or is there a slightly different pace from one side to the other? Good. And then what I'd like you to do is just come back to the middle and take a little rest. And notice kind of, what the quality of your breathing is now. how you're sitting. Some sense that there's something that's, I don't know, more centralized, like your attention's been brought back in some way as we're working on the lower abdomen. Good. And now what I'd like you to do is, instead of breathing in and coming forwards, from a neutral position, I'd like you to breathe out and go backwards. So now what we're going to do is we're going to shorten the abdominal muscles. So as you breathe out, you move your belly backwards towards your spine. Breathe in, come back to the middle, and then move out. Bring your belly backwards towards the spine. So again, you may feel that you rock on your pelvis slightly. But as you do it, think that the length of the abdominal muscles is shortening. Coming forward and breathing in, just to a normal position. Breathing out and going backwards. So this, within the kind of the Qigong practices and stuff like that, could be related to the area called the Ming Men, which translates roughly as the gate of life. So in some way, what we're doing now is we're drawing back from the Dantian area into the Ming Men area. The Dantian translates roughly as energy field. So drawing something back from the energy field into the gate of life. Sounds quite poetic. But what you feel from a kind of more anatomical perspective is, again, you're waking up your abdominal muscles. Feel which side shortens well, which side shortens less well, or are they both kind of operating at the same pace? If you want, you can use your hand to just very gently push your abdomen backwards so that you've got some reference of moving the belly backwards. Good. And then take a rest. And maybe just switch your hands over. So if you've just had one of your hands on your abdomen, now just switch them over. So I had my right hand on my abdomen. I'm just going to change it and have my left hand there now. And when you're ready, I'd like you to go through the whole of that sequence. So taking the belly forwards as you breathe in and backwards as you breathe out. And just see if you can kind of really get a smoothness of movement. Letting your body be carried forward by the expansion in the belly and be carried backwards by the contraction in the belly. So the two muscles that run down from the bottom of the ribs down into the pubic bone, they're the long muscles of the abdomen. And if you think, we've seen pictures of people with six packs and stuff, and you see kind of, what those muscles looks like when they're well developed. And I've talked a lot to other people about this kind of concept of core strength. And it's not a concept that I particularly like. And one of the reasons for that is I think that there are certain ways that we can exercise that actually leave us in a more tense state afterwards. So if you're exercising to develop tightness and you don't go in the opposite direction to develop relaxation and length, then your body misses one aspect of movement. So in these kind of practices like Feldenkrais or Qigong or Tai Chi, really what we're looking for is we're looking for the whole range of movement. So in this breathing technique, letting the abdomen come in as you come forwards and contract and kind of like squeeze as you go backwards. You've got this full opening of these abdominal muscles, the long muscles in the abdomen, and this full closing. Going through the full range of the muscle. And that is working the muscle, that's pumping a muscle. As it goes through the full range, it's going to be using the available oxygen in that muscle, and that's going to be replenishing it. And that's a form of exercise. Different to, and it will be toned by that process, but it's different to kind of making it tight all the time. And this is why I kind of don't like this core concept. Because sometimes you really need to relax your belly. So as you come forwards and you allow your belly to come forwards, just see if you can let your head come and look upwards slightly. And then as you come backwards and you breathe out, let your head come downwards slightly. So now you've got this sort of lengthening of the abdomen kind of coming up further into the throat and the jaw. And the same thing with this contraction. So it's like the whole front of you contracting and the whole front of you lengthening. Just do that a number of times. So the ribs obviously play a part in this. And the sense of a full in-breath and a full out-breath, so that you're really kind of expelling the air as well. Good. Okay, and take a little rest. And then just drop your mind, drop your attention down into your lower abdomen again. If you want to place your hand there. And just see if you can kind of let go of the movement for a second, let go of that, like any activity, and let everything settle. And as you do that, kind of the noise in the system becomes less, and your ability to perceive subtlety increases. So one of the things that I'd like you to have a look at or think about is the initial movement of breath. So as you breathe in, where is the point that the breath starts? Can you feel the physical place, the physical point that the breath, the movement of breathing starts? And if you understand some of the mechanisms of breathing, obviously you've got the changing shape of the ribs, but you've also got this movement, the circular muscle of the diaphragm. And the circular muscle of the diaphragm, it contracts and pushes downwards as it contracts, making space in the lungs. But could you feel that as you breathe in, that there's some movement down in your lower abdomen? If you have your hand gently resting there, if you do feel some movement there, does the movement happen after you start breathing in, or does it happen before you start breathing? So if you let the muscles of the abdomen work, the full length of them, as you breathe in and you breathe out, can you notice that as you breathe in, there's this kind of initial movement right down in the lower abdomen? because the process, the physiology of breathing involves muscles. Our muscles have to work in order to allow us to breathe. So it's like, can we feel the places that the muscles are working? What's the movement? What are the kind of physical aspects of movement involved in breathing? Good. So just place your hand on your abdomen again and let go of that intention for a second, and just let your mind kind of settle down into your lower abdomen. In the esoteric traditions, they have a couple of methods for what they term as, or what they understand as, activating the Dantian. So one of the things that we've just done is done the kind of physical approach to that, exploring how we can activate the abdominal muscles. But there's also a couple of other ways that we can do it. And we're going to look at that a little in tomorrow's lesson, to do with gravity and weight. But one thing that we can kind of practice now as we go through the week is how we drop our attention down into our lower belly. So if you have your eyes closed, and hopefully kind of your attention feels clear enough, undistracted enough, that you could just gently bring your mind down, your attention down, and rest it in your lower abdomen area. If you need to have your hand there as well to kind of, increase that awareness. But just see if you can kind of like rest your mind on this area in the lower abdomen. And the term rest is a really good one, because it's not active. You're not doing anything. You don't have any intention. You're not imagining a Dantian. You're not imagining an energy center. You're just bringing your mind down and resting your attention on your lower abdomen. Kind of as simple as it can get. And because our attention has an effect, so there's kind of, high level physics tests to show that our attention affects scientific experiments. When they do one experiment with people paying attention to it, it changes the results. When they do the same experiment without people paying attention to it, the results are different. So that there's some kind of power in attention. By bringing our attention to something, it changes that thing that we're engaged with. So as you bring your attention to your lower abdomen, just feel that in some way that's a form of activation as well. So we've looked at the opening and closing of the muscles of the abdomen, and now we're just resting our attention on our lower belly. The Chinese term for this is resting the mind, or hiding the mind in the Dantian. And you may notice that as you continue to do this, there's some change in how you are embodied, maybe. The sense of yourself in your own body. And then very gently just come back to the movement of breathing, feeling that the muscles of the abdomen can lengthen slightly as you breathe in, expanding the belly. And then as you breathe out, just letting the belly pull in and contracting those long muscles. I'm glad it's making sense. This is I think it's nice to explore this subject. There's a reason why these concepts are have existed for a long time. And I think it's nice to put it into words that is understandable and digestible and means something other than the esoteric sense of things. Good. So as you rest your attention there on your lower abdomen and you breathe at the same time, then that's two ways of activating or stimulating the muscles in the lower abdomen. Maybe you can also feel that as you breathe out, there's this connection between the front and the back, the Dantian area in the lower abdomen, and the Mingmen area in the lower back. So a dynamic relationship between the front of the body and the back of the body. Good. Letting the belly expand. And see if you can kind of let that expansion sort of spread a little. You can feel that whatever activation we're encouraging in the lower abdomen has the potential for growth and expansion. And it can expand further into the body. And this is another concept that I want to look at. Perhaps we'll do that on Wednesday. Great. Okay. Well, thank you. Hope you enjoyed that. As I said, the theme of the week is kind of looking at this concept of the Dantian, but we're going to be doing it in a way that I think hopefully allows it to be a nice term is demystified, so that you feel that you can access that and it means something kind of physiological as well. So yeah, hope you enjoyed that. I'll be back tomorrow and we're going to look at our center of gravity tomorrow. So I will see you at 11 tomorrow morning. And also this evening, I'm teaching a full hour-long Feldenkrais class. If you're interested in that, you can join into my Facebook group. The link's in the description. There's also a link to my PayPal account if you want to make a small donation. Great. So thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Let me know how you found the lesson. If anything was unclear or you'd like me to explain anything more, please put it down in the comments and I'll try and pick it up this week. Great. All right. Have a good day. Bye.